Good evening, everyone. I got a little bit of throat problem. It's not COVID. Don't worry about it. It's just a long day as a principal. But you know what? When I started becoming a principal, all my good friendships start with a cup of coffee, not something else. I met Jessica, or actually, I was introduced by my circuit manager. Mr. Maliva said, there's two people you need to, Chief, and he said, always say Chief to our principals. Chief, you must meet Jessica and Cheryl. If you want to do something in Stellenbosch, you need to meet those people. So I met Jessica at a cup of coffee at, I think it was Spa, and I think I met Cheryl at the launch of Rupert's museum somewhere there. Because I was standing there at the museum and all the pictures, I was just checking what the people do. So they were standing like this, and I was also standing like that. I didn't even know what I'm looking at, but I was standing like that. But you know what? Becoming a principal is not easy, because you have a lot of problems, man. Because I also had a wife, now you must keep her happy, must keep the staff happy, and at the end of the day, you must keep the kids happy. But what I've learned is that I don't want to be the conventional principal. Because you can't play with the forwards all the time, you can't score and then you go again. You must play with the back line also. So I made a study before I became principal. I was deputy, I was looking at my principal. Because some of our principals, the caretaker knows more than the deputy. It works like that. And he give you only 3 free periods. And you have to do all the funding and everything you have to do in that 3 free periods. But, so I look at our environment. In Pieter's world, in most of the towns, you get 3 primary schools, you get 1 high school. So the mindset is already, these people are not going to the high school. They're not going. Because you look across the river, you got 4 primary schools and 4 high schools. So the mindset is already there. So I said to myself, no man, because the community, they abandoned our kids. And you can't build a house without a good foundation. So what I was thinking about is, listen, let's start from the grade R's. But I'm lucky, I got 2 nurseries who also hired the building there. So I know, all right, I'm going to get that kids also. So what I said, and that's how I met Paul, and I said to Paul, listen, you as a business leader need to take care of your staff because they need to sell. My client is my parent. I don't care about my staff because they get paid at the 15th. So what I did, I built a relationship with my parents. And the first thing I did, I paint my stoepie away. So if you come past that, you must look. Even Yala Zella saw my stoepie. That is your stoepie. Because we lived in a tent. My mother was pushing a wheelbarrow with cement, but we had the cleanest tent. And that's how I grew up. Because it doesn't matter where you come from or where you stay, your house must look clean. If it's not clean, you can be the richest guy in the world and say, hey, I'm stunk man. Anyway, so that's how I started becoming not a conventional principal, but unconventional. I started with literacy. They must read, because my goal is every kid in that school must read. Then they can read the signs on the street. Because you know what, I sent someone a WhatsApp when I was a deputy, and that person said LMFOAO, and I said thank you very much. I didn't even think it was something else. But at the end of the day, and that is how I met. So if you can just go back to because I like to talk. Yes, okay. Then I only take 3, and I don't want to talk very long now. I only take 3 things. Out of time to think is I only throw the cat into the pigeons and see what pigeon is coming out. Because if you question, you will get all the answers. You don't even have to prepare for anything. Mr. Bam, I just ask questions. Then I know what, and I can talk all day out of the answers you're giving me. Because I'm also a part-time lawyer. Then flowers consulting is you become the consultant and your SMT is the client. You need to know what they want. That's what I take you out of flowers. Community building is the last one. To create a community of possibilities. I can go on for hours and hours, but I know Paul wants to say something. Paul, you can have something. You
can keep it.
Okay.
Now can you listen how it goes? And we both like talking. So, yeah, I was similar to Vernon, introduced to PFP by a colleague of mine at a career day at Cludersville High School. And immediately I said, how do I get involved? A couple of months later, Jessica called me and we had a discussion. And funny enough, our coffee meeting happened without Jessica because there were protests and the road into Stellenbosch was blocked and she couldn't get in. And we just kicked it off. No formal introduction, nothing. Had a cup of coffee and, took off from there. As Shafiq said, different management styles, but we realized that it was complementary. My role is leadership development, people development, whereas Shafiq said, well, I need to focus on the community. I need to focus on the parents. And I was like, but what about your staff? Because you need a strong team around you. And then, as he said, they get paid by the department. If I can garner the support of the community and I get the support of the community, we can then translate that to the staff. And, we realized that it wasn't opposing views, but we could complement one another in that approach. Appreciation for challenges faced by principals and their staff. I come from a family lineage of educators. Grandfather was an educator, cousin still educator, mother was an educator, and I vowed I will not become an educator. Lo and behold, I find myself in the position that I am. Not because there's anything wrong, but because I saw the hours that you need to put in. Family members sitting until 9, 10 o'clock at night grading papers, weekends, and I thought, this is not something so I realized what a challenge it was, and I thought I knew until I met Shafiq. And then I realized, and I think, Anne, you made the point, you have a shoestring budget, and how do you run an institution on a shoestring budget? For us that come from huge corporates, yes, there are financial constraints and budgetary constraints, but if you have a strong motivation and you can really motivate and show what the benefits are to your exco, chances are quite strong that you might not get the full 100,000, maybe 80,000. Just throwing a figure out there. So appreciation, great respect for the manner in which resources are used and innovative means sought to meet needs. Again, you've got the shoestring budget. What are you going to do to get in funds? The thinking pairs, I think, was an eye-opener for us because, as Shafiq said, he likes to talk, I like to talk. And so giving each other the airtime and just giving that ear to listen. Shafiq always says that I'm his sponge. We would rubber duck. Yeah. We would set up 30 minutes and we would end up talking for maybe an hour and 30 minutes if our diaries allowed. And we would just have that opportunity to share things with each other. A key thing for me was not to offer solutions, but to listen in terms of just what I do on a daily basis and engaging with stakeholders and managing stakeholder issues. One needs to understand that I need to learn to listen and not always just come in there and offer a solution. For those of you that are married, men 9 out of 10 times want to solve the problem. And for those of you that have teenage kids, they don't want you to solve the problem. So listening was a key growth area for me. Growth as a leader, coach and mentor, and then definitely from my side to give more of myself to the school going forward. We've all heard the impact of COVID and not being able to do things physically, so that's something that I'd like to focus on. Shafiq.
Paul took us a tour to the school. It's quite a big school, but at this side it was not much kids. I think it was about 500. Now we're running about 800 kids now. And what I did, I bought library books. I transferred that building into a library because that was my goal. End goal is they must read. And I think I was in Radio KC also. We had this beautiful computer room, which SG Brian Skrider also put on his Twitter page. So that is my strong points. So what I did actually is introducing spelling bees. And we achieved it. by Paul going to, Stellenbosch, Social Impact. They sponsored 5,000 rand. And I had the department coming, and we are actually having another spelling bee now at the end of March. Because, you know, human capital is much better than all the gifts. You can have the most beautiful school. You have all the resources, but if the human capital is not used properly and the kids are not into it, then you can even have Paul who's won't help us. So we are, and at the end of the day, although there's no sport, but kids are still getting hurt. So we gotten first aid kits and all this stuff. And what Paul actually did, because he's skillful, and luckily I got a permit because we are feeding school in the COVID time. So I give Paul a permit. All right, you can come to the school. So he had meetings with the SMT. We power actually the SMT, and later on, you'll see on the photos afterwards, we had it's a cupcake session with the teachers. So, and we are still progressing day by day by getting on more library books, more computers. I even got, you see that laptop from HP, and I introduced an HP course there, because part of the possibility, happy to get an IT guy there. I even get assistants now. I got, and I saw the problem with the mask, because we forgot the mask if we go to the shop. So I got 2 sewing machines in there, and Jessica, through Youth at Work, got me 2 assistants to do that. So I don't care, the kids can come now with it. And everything is happening around us. And why because before I forgot to thank all these people, lovely people here, is while I was busy with a COP meeting, my wife fell ill, and I had a lovely support from all this, because I told the other ladies I paid Muscovy for that woman, man. So I needed her to be getting healthy again, otherwise I'm going to lose out on money. Or so
Thank you, Shafiq.
okay, I can see you in school.
Sorry, Vernon. But for those of you that know Stellenbosch, you drive in on the R304, past Kayamandi, and if you look across the left into Kloetisville, I sien jy daai rooi snoep. Die mooiste skool in Stellenbosch. You're not in Stellenbosch, so the Cupcake Day was just a small initiative. It was for Teachers Appreciation Day, but also an opportunity to share with the teachers how to lead in crisis, because each teacher in their own right are leaders. And I mean, the donations are they're small things. It's not something to really speak about, but really it was used as a catalyst in order to be able to engage the school, engage the teachers, and the SMT. And I think the last thing that I want to take away from Shafiq and the school is just the empowerment of the SMT. I mean, I sat in one of their meetings and just listening to how they're now able to take charge of a situation and how to lead. And I don't want to take credit for it. I mean, Shafiq said the things that both of us learned on this program, and being able to utilize that to impart into the staff and to empower the SMT, I think goes a long way. I think just some appreciation. I mean, the sponsorships from ER24 and Stellenbosch University. This Winelands 10 circle, I think for us was huge. And then to our coordinator and leader, Jessica Betts, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.